World War II saw the widespread use of two iconic American rifles, the M1 Carbine and the M1 Garand. Despite their similar M1 designation, they served very different purposes on the battlefield, both in the Pacific and European theaters. In this video, we'll compare these two rifles, looking at their history, strengths, limitations, and how they performed in different combat environments. The M1 Garand, named after its designer John Garand, was developed in the 1930s and officially adopted in 1936. As the first semi-automatic rifle issued as a standard military weapon, it provided American soldiers a major advantage in rate of fire. Meanwhile, the M1 Carbine was introduced in 1942 as a lighter, more portable option for support troops, filling the gap between a sidearm and a full-sized rifle. While both rifles fired .30 caliber rounds, their ammunition differed significantly. The M1 Garand fired the powerful .306 Springfield cartridge, ideal for long range and stopping power. This rifle weighed around 10 pounds, which, combined with its 24-inch barrel, made it a powerhouse for sustained fire. The M1 Carbine, in contrast, fired the lighter .30 carbine cartridge, weighing just over 5 pounds with an 18-inch barrel. Its lighter round was designed for closer engagement, providing easier handling but less firepower than the Garand. On the battlefield, the M1 Garand's advantages were clear. Its semi-automatic capability and powerful rounds allowed for effective engagement at up to 500 yards, which made it ideal for Europe's open fields and long sightlines. However, its weight and limited 8-round capacity were challenging in close quarters. Soldiers also reported the rifle's distinctive ping sound upon emptying a clip, which could alert enemies. In fact, it was a rather unfounded concern during the shootouts at fronts. Despite these quirks, it was reliable in harsh conditions, from the cold winters of Europe to the humid jungles of the Pacific. The M1 Carbine, on the other hand, excelled in mobility. Its lightweight and 15-round magazine allowed soldiers to carry more ammunition, making it particularly popular among paratroopers and support units. However, it lacked stopping power, which limited its effectiveness in dense jungle combat against heavily armed Japanese forces in the Pacific. Though it was reliable, its lighter cartridge meant it was less effective at longer ranges, which became an issue in Europe's open combat zones. In the Pacific, the M1 Carbine was often seen as underpowered. With Japanese soldiers often wearing lighter armor, the carbine's limited range was suitable for closer encounters. However, in intense firefights, it lacked the penetration needed to halt a charging enemy, a disadvantage highlighted in jungle combat. The Garand, though bulkier, was favored by many in the Pacific for its range and stopping power, though carrying it in dense terrain proved difficult. In Europe, the Garand's power and range were appreciated. Open terrain allowed for longer sightlines, where the Garand's .30-06 rounds outperformed the Carbine in terms of range and impact. The M1 Carbine, however, was favored in urban settings and by units like engineers and radiomen who valued its lightweight. While both rifles were effective, the Garand became a mainstay of American infantry forces on the European front due to its balance of firepower and range. The M1 Garand and M1 Carbine both left lasting legacies. The Garand became a symbol of American firepower in World War II and continued to influence rifle design for decades. The M1 Carbine, with over 6 million units produced, remains one of the most iconic and widely produced firearms of the war. Each rifle, in its way, contributed to the Allied victory, proving that both heavy firepower and maneuverability have their place on the battlefield. Thank you for joining us in exploring the M1 Garand and M1 Carbine in World War II. Be sure to like and subscribe for more historical deep dives.
This action earned him the Medal of Honor.